Hello everyone, today I'm going to be ranking decks for the Pokemon World Championships 2026. I found this tier list in Tier Maker, so we'll just dive right in. We'll start off with Alakazam, the Dunsparce. I'm going to put this deck in A tier. It's obviously a very strong deck, and it really just depends on if people are going to play like more special red card, like not maybe Zerosit, but I don't think they will, and for that reason Alakazam is going to stay in A tier. I think our Bastiodon is just a D tier deck. There is not much to say about it. But for Beedrill, it really depends if you get everything you need. Do you get all your forest? Do you get all your Beedrill out? Do you draw enough cards with the Dunsparce to see what you need? Do you prize any important pieces? The potential with Beedrill is there, but I don't see it performing very well, especially at the World Championships. I think Ceruledge is also a D tier deck, but probably above our Chaladon. I don't think many people will pick up a deck like Ceruledge at a tournament like this, the World Championships. And Crustle is honestly really matchup dependent. There's another single prize deck, and single prize decks are looking quite good right now. So you really have to dodge all the single prizes, which will be quite hard. There'll be quite a lot of people playing single prizes, I think, especially when they are looking like they will perform this well. Speaking of single prizes, Festival Lead is an A tier deck in my opinion. It has loads of potential coming into this tournament, especially with the new Gladion card, which does like 80 more damage if it's the last card in your hand, which is really strong. And Festival Lead, all it's trying to do is just put more damage on its attacks, and if you either like get lucky against Pult or dodge the Pults, you could probably get a very good finish with Festival Lead, but there is obviously the risk of playing a deck that's weak to Dragapult to the World Championships. And the new Hide and Sneak deck is probably going to be an A tier deck, especially if you're playing the Turbo build. I don't think that the spread build is as strong, especially when like you need like 16 cards in the discard with Hide and Sneak for Spiritomb, which is kind of insane. So I think that the Turbo build's better. You can just discard loads of them and just attack these Pokemon that evolve into the big stage 2s. You can attack them when they're little, and when you're playing against Dragapult, you have a way to one-hit KO them with a 1 energy attack if you have Clefairy on the bench, which is pretty much what caused Trevenant that success. Next up we have the Clefairy decks, and it depends yet again on which deck you play and if you hit the Dragapults. But if you hit the Dragapults, this Clefairy deck can feel like an S tier deck, but if you don't, it's kind of bad. But this Clefairy deck or slot box is a bit more balanced and can deal with a bit more matchups, but it is very matchup dependent. Cynthia's Garchomp is probably a B tier deck. I think it has loads of potential, it just doesn't have enough players, but it does have a good Pult matchup, which is always going to be good. I think Raging Bolt Ogerpon is an A tier deck. It can have a good Pult matchup if you like just get off the starting box really early and just keep KOing their like Dreepies. But if you don't, it can be a bit of a problem, but it is very strong, especially when you have like the Kangaskhan and you do Energy Switch, Crispin, and you just have it fully charged up straight away. With all the different attackers you can play, it's very similar to Slotbox, but it is probably a bit better because those Raging Bolts can really output a lot of damage. Mega Greninja is probably a C tier deck right now. It's kind of like slightly worse Dragapult, but after rotation, when Dragapult goes away, I know it's in a while, but we will have to be looking out for Greninja. Honestly, when I play against this deck as a stage 2, it feels like Mega Excadrill is an S tier deck, but it is not. I think it belongs in the A tier, but quite high up. It has a lot of good matchups, but I don't know what I'm saying but for. Honestly, there's not many weaknesses. Obviously, it is kind of up to chance with the Metal Makers if you hit 5 energy to actually get that big attack. But if you get that and you just got a 340 HP stage 1, it is going to be pretty smooth sailing for you. I think Mega Diancie Duskmar is probably at the top of C tier. It has loads and loads of potential. It just doesn't have any, doesn't have the results or players to really back it up. So I can't see many people playing it, but there is a chance for a decent finish. Mega Grimmsnarl. This is really interesting. I've been trying to make it work so much, but with Gwyn and Dark Bell, it is seeming to get a tiny bit better. It results at like big online tournaments they're going up, and it really depends on how many of those new cards you want to play. If you think they're worth playing, there's a lot of deck decisions now you can make with this deck, and sometimes you might be able to catch your opponent off guard. I think Team Rocket's Honchkrow is obviously very, very strong. And it's either at the top of B tier or right at the end of A tier. It actually won, I think, in the seniors for NAIC. And if it just keeps hitting all those Rocket supporters, it can be very, very strong. Honestly, Hydrapple is another A tier deck. It can just one-hit KO Dragapult quite easily. That's kind of a running theme for A tier decks. And because of that, not only that, it has a good matchup spread. If you're playing against like a dark deck like Grimmsnarl, for example, then you can really ruin their day. It has a lot of good matchups. Mega Kangaskhan Buffalant is honestly really underrated. It has quite a good Pult matchup in my experience playing against it as Pult. But yet again, I can't see many people choosing to play this. And I'm just going to kind of group that with Wailord as kind of a wall deck. Unfortunately, in my testing at least, it does not seem that good. I think I would have previously probably put Mega Kangaskhan Absol in D tier, but I'm pretty sure Tim Franklin came second in the online tournament with a new version, and I don't know if that will encourage people to play it enough, but it might have convinced a lot of people, including me, that it isn't completely terrible. As much as I love playing Mega Lopunny to Dunsparce, it's not a good deck. It just doesn't, like, after it won a regional, it kind of just went away. There's a lot of other decks you can play instead of it, so there's no point. I don't really understand who's going to be playing straight Lucario. I'm honestly just going to leave that because I think you either play Hariyama or Dunsparce. So I'm just going to be ranking those two. And it's really hard to separate them. It's really hard to say which one is better. You'll see good results from both of them. But I personally like playing the Hariyama build more. I'm going to put these in B tier. I'm just going to kind of group them together because it's very hard to separate them with which one is better. Mega Venusaur is a D tier deck. Nothing else to say. Team Rocket's Mewtwo is probably right at the top of B tier. It probably doesn't have, like, I don't know, it could do well, it could have another kind of breakout performance, but it depends on a lot, and if people have figured out the matchup after its success. Ogerpon Meganium is kind of similar to Lopunny Dunsparce. It really had its moments, but now it has just fallen off. And this tier list is getting hard with how many decks there are. Okie dokie Barbaracle, yet again a deck I love playing, but it unfortunately just isn't that strong. Oh, we've got into Dragapult. Let's just fill up the S tier real quick. Except for you, Dunsparce. And now you can sit in like the middle of A tier, because Watchtower is still quite frequent, I'd say. It's probably gonna pop up. Nothing else to say here. Mega Sharpedo, Toxtricity going in D tier. Slowking is really interesting. It's always been like this, but if your opponent plays Shaman, you lose. If your opponent doesn't play Shaman, you win. It's not really that simple, but that's kind of what the logic I'm going to use here. I did actually used to play Slowking before it got good, and it was very fun then. Like, I played it before like Telepathic, before a lot of people actually picked it up. But I don't know if I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's really in the middle. It's really similar to other decks where, like Alakazam, where if they tech, it's gonna be really hard, but if they don't, it's gonna be really easy most of the time. Mega Starmie, bro. What happened to Mega Starmie? This guy really fell off, and it can just be very fun still. I think it still isn't a bad deck, but it is going to go into the C tier for now, which I never expected to say, but no one's playing it anymore. It just doesn't have a player base. I do think the Sylveon is just worse Crustle, and it only had 2 results. They were quite decent for a deck that has literally never appeared before, and I could imagine people picking it up after its very good stream performance. For Toxtricity, gosh, he is my favourite Pokemon, but this guy made me suffer with this deck. But it won't obviously do amazing, but recent results kind of have proved me wrong. It isn't a terrible deck. Hops Trevenant also fell off, won a special event, and then we said bye to it. I think if you want to play a deck like this that just wants to one-hit KO Dragapult with Lily Clefairy, you should probably just play Hide and Sneak. I'm just going to put Hops Trevenant in C tier. I think Ethan's Typhlosion is going to go into B tier right above Garchomp. And Zoroark is really interesting. I'm going to put Zoroark in A tier. Maybe right behind Dragapult to Dunsparce. And I think Transformation Tome Zoroark deserves an S tier. If more people pick it up, it can be very, very strong. And with the Transformation Tome, you can get a lot of flexibility. But who do I think is going to win the entire World Championships? It's going to be a deck from S tier. It's not Zoroark, I don't think. Don't think it's going to be... Yeah, I think it's going to be Dragapult Blaziken. This deck is probably, when all the Dragapult variants were still kind of I would say finding their feet, and people deciding which one they want to play, I think Dragapult Blaziken was probably the least popular at that time, but it really has risen in popularity, and that might be thanks to Crushing Hammerpult rising in popularity, and Blaziken obviously is just a very good counter to that. But also with grass attackers like Hydrapple that can do a lot of damage to Dragapult, Blaziken is also there for that. So that's why I think that Dragapult Blaziken will win Pokemon TCG Championships, World Championships 2026. I might have been a bit harsh or a bit I'm like looking over this list thinking, might have been a bit wrong, but this is just my personal opinion. And I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. I can't wait for this World Championships. Anyway, bye Goofroot.